Dr. Elizabeth Verghese, Chairperson, Hindustan Group of Institutions. Honorable Minister of State for Commerce and Industry, Government of India, Dr. Sudarasana Nachipan. My Consul General for Malaysia, my partner and co-founder of AirAsia, Datuk Kamarudin, and our new CEO of AirAsia India, Mittu Chandliya, and all the distinguished winners of the Excellence Awards. Thank you very much for giving me this wonderful award. It was fantastic seeing your late husband, Dr. KCG's video, which was quite inspiring for me as someone who is in the same industry, in both industries actually. Me and Kamarudin own a car business and also the airline business, so we're very much wheels and planes as well. So thank you very much. I find it always odd. I've had two actually, Lifetime Achievement Awards. Sometimes you feel like people are trying to tell you to retire, and I wonder whether this award is sponsored by the other Indian airlines. Indigo and Spice and all of those, but let me formally declare that I've only just begun in India, and I'm looking forward to it very much. I'm thrilled to be here in Chennai. It's my first time that I've been here. It's a wonderful city, and looking at the minister, I was shocked when he told me he had been in politics for 40 years. The air must be good down in the south because he looks younger than me. We've had a fantastic welcome here, me and my partner. It's great to be here. I came from a very different background, and it was fantastic seeing Dr. Verghese's video. I was from the music business, and one day I had the idea of setting up an airline, which I'll tell you in a second. I was very glad that Dr. Verghese didn't choose AirAsia as the name of his airline, but it was, I suppose if we just dropped the TIC and change the color, then we have AirAsia. And I hope in our small way, when we get the approval to launch AirAsia, that we can carry on his vision of making it affordable for everyone to fly. Listening to the video was actually so much what me and Kamarudin want to do, to allow people to fly. We started our airline 12 years ago. Both of us had zero experience in the airline business. I was in the music business, selling music. I gave up selling music because of piracy. I know no one in the Hindustan Group of Institutions has ever bought a pirated CD, but in Malaysia it was rampant. And so one day I decided to quit from Warner Music. I was sitting in a bar in London, and I saw Stelios of EasyJet talking about his airline. I went to Luton Airport, which is a small airport in the north of London, and saw people flying to Barcelona for £8, to Paris for £6, and I thought, okay, I'm going to start an airline. Now there's a very fine line between brilliance and stupidity. It's very, very narrow, but I thought it'd be great if we could bring something like EasyJet to Asia. So armed with very little, I called up my partner, my long-suffering partner, if I could just introduce him, because he's the unsung hero of AirAsia, Datuk Kamarudin over here. We are the ultimate branding company, and we always wear something. But in his case, he wears a cap because he has no hair. But 12 years ago, we decided that, well, I said I was going to start an airline. I came back and we put together, 4 of us from the music business, put together this plan. And we were sitting one day in a coffee house, and the plan looked great. There were a couple of major problems, like we had no money. And someone amongst us said, how do we get an airline license? And we all looked at each other like, yeah, how do you get an airline license? You know, it's not like you can go to the local supermarket and buy one. So someone mentioned the magic Malaysian words, you need political connections, which of course we had none. And cut a long story short, we got to see Tun Mahathir in 2001, who didn't know us from Adam, but saw something in us. He said, there's something about you guys, you have so much passion for this business. And listening to the video, it reminded me of our early days. And he said, you can have my blessing to have an airline. And so we were like very excited for like 2 nanoseconds. And then he went, but. And the but was, you have to go and buy an airline. So we came out of there. He said, I've had too many failed airlines. I'm not going to give a new license. You've got to go and buy a new airline. So we came out of there, and Kamarudin and myself had the prize money together between the two of us of about $500,000. So we thought, how are we going to buy an airline? But, you know, we just kept believing that something was going to come up our way. And true enough, there was an airline for sale called AirAsia, which had been in operation for 5 years and hadn't been profitable. We went to see the owners of AirAsia in September of 2001, and we bought AirAsia. We said, we saw the owner, and we said, we want to buy AirAsia. He said, great, you can have it tomorrow. And he said, how much do you want to buy for it? And I said, cheekily, 25 cents. And he said, you can still have it tomorrow. And I thought, damn, I should have said, pay me to take this airline away from you. So we bought AirAsia for 25 cents on September the 8th, 2001. 3 days later, 9/11 happened, and the world changed for aviation. But we carried on, and on December the 8th, 2001, we took over AirAsia with 2 planes and 254 staff. In the 11 years, it has been a remarkable story because we've had amazing people in our company. We've gone from 2 planes, and now, today, we have 156 planes. And our first year, in our first year, we carried 200,000 people, and this year, we will carry 44 million people. The great thing about those 44 million people, and if listening to the video, was that most of them had never flown before. And when we came out with our tagline, now everyone can fly, that was our dream, that we would allow most people to fly. So we're now in Thailand, we're in Indonesia, we pioneered the joint venture structure. In Philippines, we've had some problems in Japan, and hopefully very soon we'll be in India, and our head office will be in Chennai. And we will launch AirAsia India from Chennai, and hopefully really bring in fares that will revolutionize air travel. My dream, everyone who's picked me up from the airport over the last 4 or 5 years coming to India, the driver has never ever flown. And my dream one day is that when I come to India, and the person who picks me up from Chennai airport will say, I've just got off an AirAsia flight. And that would have made our hard work a reality. I'd like at this point to introduce the man who's got to make it happen, or he won't be here, is our new CEO, very young, very bright. His CV is impeccable. I can't believe it every time I read his CV. I'm sure there's something wrong with him. But our new CEO, Mithu, who is going to be the CEO of AirAsia India, and hopefully change that. You know, Dr. Elizabeth, listening to that video, it was amazing hearing all your husband's dreams, and we must get a copy because it's going to serve as an inspiration to all the staff in AirAsia India on his dreams, and I hope we can continue it. I make things up sometimes on the spur of the moment, but if we do get our license, I'd like to dedicate our first plane and name it after him for his his vision and foresight. It's very hard when you have a pioneering spirit to try and do new things. You know, we've had so many problems against government airlines and trying to break them all. We had all kinds of things: SARS, bird flu, tsunami, earthquakes, revolutions. But we always had a wonderful spirit in the company. We have amazing people in our company where anything is possible. And I think your husband will serve as an inspiration to the future staff of AirAsia India. I'll finish on a story. You know, during SARS, I finished with two stories actually. During SARS, no one wanted to fly. I don't know if you remember SARS, but it was a disease in Southeast Asia and China, which was similar to bird flu. And people thought if they flew, they were going to die. And every airline cut their advertising. No one wanted to fly anymore. So I told my branding director, I said, let's triple our advertising now. And he thought I'd really gone crazy. And I said, no, this is the best time to build a brand. During a period of strife, when everyone else is cutting their advertising, this is the best time to advertise because no one else is advertising. Plus, I knew Malaysians very well. If you put a fare low enough, they will risk their lives. Okay, 800 ringgit to Madras, no one's going to fly because of SARS. 80 ringgit, who cares? I'm flying. And when I look at that, I see some young cadets and young pilots. It's fantastic. I hear you mention the evil Singapore Airlines. We hope that we will be taking many people from the Hindustan group as future pilots and future engineers into Mithu's airline. I finish on the last thing, which is what has made AirAsia. We have 10,000 staff, we have no unions, it's a very family-orientated culture. And we really believe that everyone can be a success. And my job and Kamruddin's job is to turn a raw diamond into a diamond. And we have been, we've been blessed that we had a good education. But many people in Malaysia, due to financial reasons, may not have had the best of or the equal opportunities. So when we started AirAsia, we said we didn't care whether you had A-levels or O-levels or university degrees. As long as you had a brain and you wanted to exceed, we would give you that opportunity. You know, once a month in the old days, I used to carry bags, and every couple of months we would be a cabin crew. And the last job would be check-in assistant, which was the hardest job, so I rarely did that. I did that for two reasons. One, I don't think you can be an effective CEO unless you go down to the ground and understand what's going on. And two, I wanted to meet all our staff. And of our first 11 cadets, I met so many bright young kids who just never had money for further education. And I asked Kamruddin and got his blessing. And for our first 18 cadets for AirAsia, we took 11 from within the company who had no formal education. There were some who were stewards, some were store assistants, and one boy was carrying bags for us from a remote town in East Malaysia. And I saw him and I said, you're really, really smart. You should become a pilot. And he said, oh, I left school at 13. I said, doesn't matter, you're smarter than me. And my pilots were fantastic. They gave him a lot of, and the others, some private tuition. And of those 18 cadets, 11 came from within the company. And this boy qualified. And he had the highest marks ever in Malaysian Flying Academy. And just recently, about 4 months ago, he became a captain. So you imagine, 7 years ago, you join and carrying bags for AirAsia. 7 years later, you're a captain of a brand new A320. And that's been our culture in developing people. There were no female pilots in AirAsia. I see some females over there. And I asked my chief pilot, I said, why are there no female pilots? And he gave me one of the most ridiculous answers I've ever heard in my life. There were none in Malaysia at all. So I said, if a woman can run a country, she can certainly fly a plane. And today we have 44 pilots within AirAsia. And the other day was history. The captain was a female, the co-pilot was a female, all the cabin crew were female, and all the passengers were male. That last part is not true. So the success of AirAsia, and I'm sure the success Mitu will have, is all about people. Business is easy, ideas are easy, implementation is the key. And I am blessed with Kamarudin to have such amazing people in AirAsia, and I hope to welcome many of you to come and join us in our quest to revolutionize air travel in India. Thank you very much for bestowing this award to me. It's been an honor to be here, and especially hear your late husband, and I look forward to naming that first plane after him when we launch AirAsia India. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.